thinking about it, changing the game. And my point of view is pretty solid on this. I think you should not change the game. Don't change the game. Don't do it. Changing the game kind of implies doing stuff which has never been done before. Yeah? Well, there's a reason probably it's not been done before. I mean, it's like probably saying, I'm a doctor, so somebody comes to me with, let's say, pneumonia, I will treat it with headache pills. Yeah? It's a stupid example, but you'd be surprised how not stupid it is in the television industry. It's not. It happens a lot by people who say, I want to change the game. First of all, you need to understand something about the television industry. It does not encourage new things, okay? Everybody is looking for success. Success is measured in terms of ratings. Ratings will dictate the kind of advertising revenue you get and the place that you hold in the hierarchy of channels. So, like in films, like in music, television a lot will try and follow the examples of success. If you look at any of our reality shows, pretty much all of them are versions of shows that have been successful in other countries. Yeah, be that Big Boss, which is Big Brother, KBC, which is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Fear Factor, Indian Idol, Jhalak Dikhla Ja, which is Dancing with the Stars. The reason that these shows are here in India is because, very clearly, they have aired somewhere else and they have been successful. Do we think that they'd be successful here? No, not necessarily. But nobody is willing to risk their job or their head and say, hey man, I believe in this project. I think we can make this work. Now, if I'm a television executive, Survivor, yeah, didn't work. It is a stupendous success for so many years over so many countries that it's amazing that it could not be a success, but it isn't. Probably wasn't the right time, probably wasn't done the right way. But here's the deal. As a television executive, I am safe. Because no matter whether, if it doesn't work, if it works, I'll take the credit for getting the show here. If it doesn't work, I'll just say, hey man, main kya karta? This has a, solid success story behind it. It was an obvious choice to make. I didn't do anything wrong. You get it? Let me now talk to you about some people who, according to me, have changed the game, yeah? Have you heard of Mark Burnett? Mark Burnett is the guy who made Survivor, by the way. He also made Apprentice, Contender, and a lot of other shows. He was in the British, he was a commando with the British Army. Went to the USA, worked as a nanny, which is a babysitter for a very rich man in LA. Started selling t-shirts on the Los Angeles boardwalk, which is by the beach. That's how he started. Took part in Eco Challenge, then did Survivor. Survivor made him very successful. There is a book that is written, and it's good reading if you want to read it. It's called Jump In, even if you don't know how to swim. He tells of a story in that book which is so interesting. I will try and explain to you. You have ever seen a television or a movie set? Even in a movie, sometimes it's about a film, so you'll see a lot of lights, a lot of cameras, there'll be tracks. It's a set. Survivor was supposed to be done in an uninhabited island, yeah? And there are these two tribes who are competing against each other for survival. And in the end, there is something called a tribal council in which everybody talks about, okay, what happened, who could have done better, who was a disappointment. Then they cast their votes, and the guy with the maximum number of votes exits the show. So the first Survivor, you take about a few months to set up that place. It was being set up. And Mark Burnett was invited to see the tribal council set in the night. He went, he sat down, And they said, how is it? They said, very good, nice, I like it. But I can see lights. So the DOP, which is the director of photography, called him and said, no, you can't see lights, look at the monitor. A monitor is, the camera will give the feed to, like that's a monitor up there, yeah? That's taking the feed from that camera. You can't see lights in that, right? Can you see lights up here? Yeah, so I'm Mark Burnett, I'm saying I can see lights. They say, no, you can't see lights, look at the monitor, no lights. Says, no, I'm a contestant, and for me it doesn't seem like a tribal council, it seems like a television set, so I don't want to see lights. People lost it. It goes against all conventional wisdom. How do you light up without using lights? But he was adamant and he was like, I have the advantage of not being from the television industry, I can be a little unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable, but this is what I want. I want not to see any lights. So the DOP, of course, was another madman. He said, okay, now you go away. I'll call you. 3 weeks later, he was brought in. You sit down. You don't see lights there. The Tribal Council of Survivor is a place where if you were sitting, you would not see any lights. How does that help? Okay, you didn't know this, right? This knowledge doesn't suddenly make you like the show more. It doesn't. But it'll hopefully give you some insight into why is it that all over the world for so many years, people have continuously connected with this show. It is just not just this one incident, it's the approach of saying, I want their reactions, I want their emotions to be real. I don't want them to think that they're performing for a television show. He changed the game, not because he said, I want to change the game. Everybody uses lights, man. Let me not use lights. Well, he did use lights, but the lights were very clear, very cleverly camouflaged. So he didn't change the game, but he did something the way he believed it should be done, and that, gave him a lot of success. Can I have more coffee, please? There's a guy called Richard Branson. You know Richard Branson, right? The Eternal Virgin. Do you know how he started his business? He started off as a Virgin was a company that sent you records, music records by mail if you send the money. Yeah? By mail order music records. They called themselves Virgin because they were all virgins in business. Yeah, that's what it means, because they didn't know anything about business. It was a bunch of students and they said, hey man, we are virgins in business, so we'll call it Virgins. The other name they were thinking of was Slip Disc, because it was about discs, right? Thank God, he says, because otherwise who would want to fly Slip Disc Airlines? Lovely. There was a postal strike in London around that time, which nearly wiped them out, because without the postal service, they don't have a business, right? So he decided we can't be dependent on the postal service, we'll have to kind of open an outlet, a music store. Okay, we don't know anything about music stores. How do we find out? Okay, let's just visit music stores and see how they're doing it, and we'll also do it the same way. He visited all the music stores in London. Okay, what he found was, okay, he figured out how it was done, but he didn't like what he saw. Basically, if he said, okay, this artist, what is music like? The salespeople didn't know. Okay, I'm looking for, music with this kind of a genre. Can you suggest anyone? The salespeople didn't know. It was like going to a 7-Eleven or, buying vegetables. Going in, choosing what you want, you just go over there to the till, pay the money and leave. He didn't like that, so he said, okay, my thing is going to be different. He didn't want to change the game, but he just wanted to do it his way. His way was very simple. He and his friends knew about music. That's one thing they knew. That's why their postal delivery, mail order records business was doing well. He got a room on rent and put it with a lot of beanbags and a record player. This was the first. Where you can come, you can keep sampling music. Okay? If you want help on choosing your artist, you can ask any of these guys. These guys are experts. They have heard every record and every artist in that store. And they can talk to you about it. You don't even have to buy. You can come, chill. This is the 60s, so obviously a lot of drugs was happening, which was a no-no. But, you know, I'm just trying to make you understand the atmosphere. It was quite chilled out. People were sitting over there, listening to music, talking about music. And very soon, this was the only store that people were buying records from, by word of mouth. It was just an experience. It was not just buying vegetables. Yeah? He changed the game. Now, if you go to any music store, you will find those. You can sample music. You will have some people who can help you with recommendations. But he didn't set out to say, I'm going to change the game. He said, I would do it this way. I would love to go to a store which does it like this. There are a lot of stories on the internet about how Roadies was born. Yeah? According to those stories, I set out to change the game. I said, hey, I'm going to change the game. MTV said no. And then you guys must have read it, it's total crap. Then they sanctioned it for 1 year as an experimental show. None of that happened. None of that happened. I was hired to make Roadies. Roadies was already there. Charisma was launching a bike. Hero Honda at that time, now Hero, was launching a bike, Charisma. They wanted, okay, so they've done the ad and all. But they wanted to do something more fun. Because this bike was different from other bikes at that time. This is 2003, almost 10 years ago. Us time pe bikes aisi hoti nahi thi. So this one was a much more sleeker model. Had these fairings and all, and digital speedometer, and looked very cool, looked like a sports bike. So, and very expensive. So they were very clearly targeting young people who would value looks, possibly as much as performance, if not more. Who were upwardly mobile, who could afford to buy a bike like this, yeah? Who were cool. So they went to MTV and said, you know what? We want you to make us a show where, you know, young, urban, upwardly mobile, cool kids are seen riding Charismas all over the country. And then I was brought in, yeah? Now, I've been asked to come here and talk because the topic is change the game, and apparently somebody here thinks I changed something. Well, a trend was set where there were many shows, lots of them on bikes, many channels, you started seeing a lot more bald people on TV. No, it's true. People started abusing. It's true. So there were people, here's the deal. We just look for successes and we try to copy that. So now, if you go to a channel, I'm in the television business, so more than me, my brother, Rajiv is. So when he goes to a channel and says, okay, this is the idea and this is what we want to make, they say, chhod yaar, Fear Files jaisa koi horror concept leke aa. Kyun? Well, it's successful. People want to see horror stories. Give me a horror story. Are do you think it'll work? That's not important. That's not even relevant. What I think. I might head the channel, but my opinion is nothing. I'm just going to look at other channels and see what's working and do it. It's true. Zee TV has a show called Dance India Dance. Big success. उसमें एक concept है तकदीर की टोपी या किस्मत की टोपी or something. Yeah? Probably, I haven't seen it, so probably fits in over there. Now they want that concept on all of their shows. So Rajiv was making a show for Zee TV, and they said, it was a show about stunts, stuntmen. They said, acha, you know what the show needs? Needs a takdeer ki topi. What? But, so you have to understand that MTV at that time was like Virgin. It was. They didn't give a damn. Luckily, this was the one place where, and I've worked for 17, 18 years now, worked in many places, including the BBC World Service Trust, Channel V, Network 18, UTV, Meritech, a lot of places, yeah? This was the one place where I felt that these guys wouldn't interfere, they don't care. They never saw success beyond Bakra. They didn't even know what it feels like. You know, so they were happy, they were chilled out. Office आओ, music बजाओ, नाचो, मस्ती मारो, बाहर जाओ, रात को दोस्तों के साथ दारू पियो, घर जाओ. This was their life, and it was a good life. अभी थोड़ा change हो गया. Now they all want success, but still a good place. Even there, once Roadies started picking up, everybody was like, "Eh? What is this? People are watching our channel. Wow, wow. Okay. We got to do something. Meeting." Called a meeting. You know what, Raghu? Next season, do it with celebrities. Why? Just celebrities. They're celebrities. So? They couldn't realize that they had to... They couldn't understand that they have to explain this to me. Celebrities. Thank you. Why? Because everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. अरे अगर तुम्हारे शो में विवेक ओबराय नहीं हो तो कोई क्यों देखेगा तुम्हारे शो को? बताओ. बोला भाई लोग उसकी फिल्में नहीं देखते तो Vivek Oberoi. Nothing against the man. Works hard. Yeah, so there were all these concepts, which luckily I'm from Delhi. So they were not used to interacting with someone like me in MTV. So because after a point, a meeting would become violent. Yeah, I'd start hitting people, abusing people. So they stopped making these suggestions beyond a point. They would just tentatively check my reaction. Raghu? Can we get a hot chick in the panel? No, just checking. It's okay. Do what you want, buddy. Do what you want, bro. It was actually like that. You guys can start asking questions anytime. This is not a stand-up comic thing, buddy. I'm just amusing myself because you guys are not giving me anything. The point is, at that time, television was done very differently. For the first 4 or 5 years of making Roadies, people in the television industry would always say, "हाँ, हमें पता है तुम कैसे Roadies बनाते हो यार." I know. And when they say it, I know they don't know. Exactly, they don't know because television is normally filled with wannabe film directors. It's true. Nobody wants to do television out of choice. They're only doing it because nobody wants them to make a movie. So, उनके सारे डायरेक्टर के कीड़े निकल के आते हैं. किसी भी सेट पे आप जाओगे. At that time, there was no such thing as a reality show. There was game shows which at that time was evolving into reality shows in India. There was a show called Raah, Romance Adventure Aap Aur Hum, RAAH. That was about like an Amazing Race kind of a thing with couples. But the thing is, it was all structured, it was all what we call rigged today. At that time, that was the only way. So, I'll give you an example. Many years ago, there was a show that was going to happen. It was a travel show called Head Ya Tail. It was about two people who are going to travel a city. They're going to explore a city. But everything is decided by the toss of a coin. So one person is going to get the best, highest end kind of place to stay in and all that for the first 2-3 days. Other person is going to have to slum it out. That's decided by the toss of coin. What food you eat is decided by the toss of coin. Head to ye, tail to wo. It's a travel show, but thoda sa with a difference, with it. Fun to it. First thing MTV said was, hey, can we get 2 celebrities? Again. So we're like, no, there was a pilot. Pilot is a episode that we make which doesn't necessarily go on air, but it is made to kind of see